Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good evening. Welcome to being here wherever you are on our
amazing planet.
It's amazing today. Why not?
Why not? It is amazing. What we do on it is even more amazing. But I don't want to go there because that's depressing.
It's wide, it's vast, endless possibilities.
Beautiful.
Welcome to being here.
Yes.
I'm Ariel.
I'm Shya.
We do finish each other's sentences. Sometimes we simul speak. And here we go.
Let's talk about listening.
Listening.
You know, most of us think we listen very well. And some of us think we don't listen very well. But when we're thinking, we're not listening.
Shya said something really funny the other day. He said, I think, therefore I'm not. You know, the famous quote is, I think, therefore I am. Well, when you're thinking, you're not here. You're actually
following your thoughts wherever they may lead you.
You don't see what's in your environment.
In the recent past few days, I've noticed how random my thoughts are and how things from 50, 60 years ago just jump into my current moment as distractors from the current moment, where something shows up, somebody says something about school, and I have an event that took place 70 years ago in school. And I'm, where did that come from? I haven't thought of that in 70 years. So you have random thoughts that pull you out of the current moment of your life. But let's get back to listening. Listening is an active engagement in hearing what another person has to say, or someone, from their point of view, without filtering it through what you already know or believe to be true. Can I have a tissue?
Mm-hmm.
Woo, that was perfect timing. Thank you. That was great.
You're welcome.
Sometimes a sneeze can be a nasal orgasm of great sensation.
Are you cool with listening?
I'm cool with listening. Look, in order to listen, you have to be willing not to know what's being said and hear it for the very first time. You have to be willing to allow another's point of view to come into you without thinking about it, without agreeing with it, without disagreeing with it, without thinking you already know what people are going to say because they've said it before.
You know, thinking about what's being said is a defense strategy. Did you hear that?
Yes, it's a defense strategy. But what I was thinking about.
So it didn't go in because you were thinking.
Well, it went in
because you were moving on.
Yes.
Because it shunts aside what's being said for favor of what you're thinking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, here's what I was thinking about.
Okay, tell me.
Listening is a creative act.
See,
and I didn't want to lose that because it really is an act of engagement with creativity and being to hear what another person has to say. It is not a passive act, it's active.
What Shya is demonstrating is that if you're thinking, it is not a sin. Some of us want to prove that we are not thinking, we are listening, but from time to time we're thinking, and sometimes thinking has its uses. However, if we keep bringing our attention back to what's being said today, as opposed to going off to the randomnicity of our thoughts, it'll support us all in being here. Today's episode, I am the captain of my soul. It's a piece from Invictus, which is a poem by Ernest Henley. I'm the master of my fate. I'm the captain of my soul.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole. I thank whatever gods may be for my inconquerable soul.
It's one of those things that Shya learned. You know, there's certain poems and songs and things that must have really touched you back
Well,
then.
you know, like I was thinking about it today. That poem and my wanting to be the captain of my soul has led me on a rather spectacular life trip.
Mm.
I was thinking this morning about our fishing for bluefin tuna off of Cape Cod from our boat several years ago, probably 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, that's not what most people do, but for me, it's normal.
Right.
For me, my life is normal, probably because I realize I have no control over it.
Say more about that.
Well, most people think they control how their life shows up and where it goes. And I've discovered that I'm a passenger on this ship called life. And I have no real control other than to choose where I am and what I'm doing when I'm there.
And how you're being with what you're doing.
Yeah, but to choose it as my idea, where I become the captain, where I become the initiating force in what I'm up to, rather than the victim of it. See, so many of us have victimized ourselves, including me at certain points, with the circumstances of my life or our lives. We think that we'd rather be doing something else other than what we're up to, rather than realize that what you're up to is what you're up to. And how you go about that is where satisfaction lies.
I think for many people, victimization or being a victim is a lifestyle.
Yes.
And I can say for us and for many, many people in this community, victim is an automatic reaction when something doesn't go the way we would prefer, and there's an immediate choice point to step out of it. And sometimes the automatic victim doesn't queue up, but when it does, you don't have to stay there. There's the possibility of stepping into whatever comes next.
So what comes next?
Daniela.
Let's try Daniela, right?
Our very first guest. Hi, Daniela.
Hi, Daniela.
Where are you zooming in from?
Hi, I'm Daniela and I'm zooming in from Germany, Euskirchen, which is very close to Cologne.
Excellent.
Welcome. Welcome.
Hi.
And thank you for saying it slowly so people can hear it and roll it around. Euskirchen. It's nice.
Yeah, it's great being here. And what I wanted to share and maybe ask later is I saw a interesting pattern the other day, thought process more. A random thought went by and it said something like, oh, Christian didn't kiss you. And it was a negative voice. And I said like, yes, that's true. And immediately what happened? Then I had a thought, yeah, and he didn't do that, and he didn't do that. And it was like, hey, this is. And the more I thought that, the more I became negative and really, I wanted, I was cross then. I was hard on Christian, I wanted to be. My mood changed towards him because I saw it, I thought, oh, I can stop it. And I stopped it, and it was really cool. I had fun with myself because it was also middle in the night, I couldn't even share it with him. But now as my question comes now, I'd like to transfer this, what I saw and how I reacted to other thoughts. For example, I have these thoughts like, oh, Daniela, why don't you go and eat this bread? And why don't you go and eat this instead of, let's say, doing something? And I realize that I have this thought process that bring me to the fridge or bring me to food. And then I thought, it would be cool to see that and then just say like, maybe I don't need the bread now, or maybe I don't need this chocolate now.
Can I stop you? Because now there's so much good stuff here. Okay, so first off, what you're talking about is not transformation. It's trying to change yourself using transformation as the underpinnings of your changing yourself to be a better you.
It's
You
a
want-
new, improved working on yourself through a transformational mindset.
Right. Like if I see it, then I won't eat as much. But then the bottom line is that there's this idea that eating is bad for you, or eating too much is bad for you, or eating bread is bad for you, rather than noticing your desire to have some bread. And I love German bread, you know. I don't eat bread most of the time. When I get to Germany, I eat bread. So I can understand your taste for it, addiction to it, but it's not about finding something wrong with you to fix. Because Daniela, darling, there's nothing wrong with you. Only in your thoughts. And here's the thing, those thoughts aren't new thoughts. Those are old thoughts that recycle themselves on a daily basis. But it's using the same playlist. So you get the same playlist over and over. Maybe it's slightly different. Like, oh, if I could just notice it, then I don't have to do it. That's a good thought.
Yes.
You know, what you're describing with Christian is that you have a list of his transgressions on tap. And when you're upset, you access that list. And so it's interesting. Well, he didn't kiss me. Well, if we're going back to being the captain of your soul, in that moment, you didn't go, I want to kiss. You didn't own the moment. You just expected.
No, you used it to victimize yourself rather than engage and own it like it was your idea.
And to prove a point of view, you are already proving. Because if you weren't already upset in the moment he, quote, didn't kiss you, you would have either just moved on or you would have initiated a kiss, requested a kiss.
I have a question, though. Were you kissable?
No, I don't think so. No.
Well, the other thing is when you're being hard on yourself, oh, I'm eating too much bread, which is kind of code for I'm fat or I've gained weight. When you're being hard on yourself, it's really irritating if your partner finds you attractive. So you're probably sending him the stay away. I got a belly vibe.
Yeah, this what happened. Exactly that.
The other thing of hoping that you won't go for the bread or the chocolate, that's not awareness. That's change.
That's an agenda you have that plays like a theme in music. You know how the themes repeat themselves through, especially in classical music, where themes repeat themselves? Well, that idea of being a better you by losing weight is one of the themes that has played over and over in your life. And you've lost weight, and it didn't turn you into a better you. It didn't make you any happier. See, that's the thing. People think if they shift the circumstances, if they change the situation, then they'll be happy or satisfied. But what really makes it happen is your willingness to be bigger than your internal dialogue that wants to complain about you and tell you you're not enough. And you gather evidence to prove yourself wrong. Like yesterday, I was backing out of the garage and I hit something that I didn't expect to be there. And that could have ruined my whole day. It ruined about, Shiza. And that was it. You can handle anything. The thing is this, your story includes all the things you're not good at. Have you noticed that? It's big on the things you're not good at.
which includes, let's use bread.
Bread.
You're not good at resisting bread. Shya and I had a very interesting relationship with bread in this last year. We haven't eaten bread in many years, with the exception when we'd come to Germany, and we haven't traveled to Germany for a while due to COVID. So at some point we came across a type of bread that we liked at our health food store. We liked it, we ate it, we'd buy it, we'd freeze it. I mean, we began,
And we ate it.
and we began to have it be a staple part of our diet. And we noticed some things about our physicality that changed, our weight that changed, how we felt that changed. And yet we were very determined to eat the bread. And it was very interesting to watch that, because we kept choosing to eat bread even while we were, and then I went and got my blood tested. My blood test wasn't bad, even though I'd added this carb, and I was like, darn, I don't have that excuse. So I said, oh, it's not killing me, so I'm going to keep eating it. We kept eating it and kept bringing awareness to it until one day we said, okay, we're done with this now. And I'm not saying that
it wasn't so much as we're done with it. We just didn't want it.
We said,
See, we had it. We let ourselves
have it while we had it.
Exactly.
Rather than, I shouldn't be eating this.
Because you see, every time you eat bread, afterwards you think, oh, I shouldn't have done that.
But what you resist, you repeat. So the more you say, I shouldn't have this, the more you're endorsing eating that thing you say you shouldn't have. So we watched it. And then for us, I don't know about other people, I'm just saying, we are not really good at moderation. It's generally an all or nothing thing. So if we said, okay, we're going to have bread once a week or once a month.
My mother, when I was a kid, used to send me to the store to get a rye bread. And they had these rye breads that they ran through a cutting machine, that would cut them in slices. And they give me the bag of them. And between the grocery store, which was 2 or 3 blocks away, and home, I came home with half a loaf of bread. I have.
You were not a moderation guy.
No, I am not a moderation guy.
It's similar with caffeine, similar with alcohol, similar with chocolate. I am not a person in general who can
Well, we're
modify.
actually pretty good with chocolate.
I know, because
we have 1 piece in the morning. A little piece.
Maybe 1 in the afternoon. Depending.
Sometimes. But it's not.
But we're not talking to ourselves about it. And that's the thing.
Well, that's
Daniela,
the thing that stopped me from drinking. When I noticed I was talking about when I was going to have my next glass of wine, I said, uh-oh, I'm addicted. Because I was off in the future worrying about a glass of wine. I said, oh, there's an addiction happening here that I think I better wean myself from immediately.
Another thing I've recognized for myself, Daniela, if I didn't have the conversation about what I weigh, I'm not sure I'd know who I am.
If you wouldn't have the conversation about how much you weigh, you
wouldn't know who I am. That conversation has been my companion forever.
Okay.
And one of the things that I know for a fact is that it does not matter what weight I am, I'm always a little bit more than I should be. And when Shya and I lived at the meditation center in Europe, back in like 1986, everybody there started fasting. So I started fasting with them because it was a good thing. I am currently about 128 pounds, give or take. I don't know what that is in kilos, but then I got down to 102. So we're talking a significant portion of my body weight. You could see my ribs. I was unhealthy. I thought I was fat. And they told me I needed to start eating. And I thought, why? I mean, I was hallucinating because I had so little food. My mindset was the same as it is today. The idea that a little less is better. And so really, for me, it's about being here.
It's about noticing it, noticing that's the way it is, and getting on with your life like it's your idea. See, it's really about living your life like it's your idea, rather than you are the victim of bread.
This is not the first time you've been on our podcast, and I'm not sure if you can search by your name, because we often don't say with so-and-so on the, the printed out. I would be really shocked if this is the first time we've ever spoken to you about your eating habits.
Oh, I'm sure it's not.
No, it's not. It's not at all.
But you see, you speak to you about your eating habits all the time on a daily basis, rather than.
I think it would be a fun game to play where you just play around with anytime you start talking to yourself about what you're eating, how you're eating, how much you're eating, whether you should be eating. You just put your attention on what's around you.
Well, or when you feel to eat, look and see what just happened that pushed you in that direction. See, food has been a friend. You like comfort food. I bet chocolate chip cookies and milk go well with you.
Yes.
I went for a walk with my friend Lenore yesterday, and I said, it was right after lunch. I said, I'm hungry, but I suspect I actually need some water, because sometimes when I haven't had enough to drink, when I'm dehydrated, it registers to me as that. But I don't want to give you a new system to process your weight and eating conversation through. It'd be really interesting if you just turned your attention away from that conversation and step into your life and see what happens.
Because like you said earlier, Daniela, when you have a thought, you get lost in that thought. So you have thoughts about eating, then you think about that, and you're not in your life in that moment. You're in your thoughts about food and what you did or didn't do, as if you have some control over it now, and it's already done.
But let's go back to Christian didn't kiss me. Your mind is structured in a certain way. So that thought was followed by and this and and that. It's a way your mind is structured. It's similar with you and the conversation about food or your weight. You have the first one, the first thought that you endorse as if it's real, as opposed to a thought that has gone by. And the next thing you know, you're gathering your list to prove that initial statement right. And what we're suggesting is that thought can go through, and like Shya was saying, the randomicity of our mind, that he can suddenly remember something from years ago, doesn't mean that thought has any relevancy. It was just stimulated in the moment by something happening. He can either bring his attention back out into the world at large and his life right now, or he can follow that train of thought.
And so can you.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
You're very welcome.
It's delightful to see you.
It really is.
Thank you. You too.
Alrighty then. Drum roll, please. You sound like our cat. It's time for our listener feedback spotlight while Shya is here purring with me. We get to hear from one of our listeners
about how transformation has impacted their lives. And if you'd like to learn more or register for any of our upcoming courses, visit transformationmadeeasy.com.
Yeah.
And when I say easy, it's like the fire swamp.
Yeah, join us.
If you know your way through it, it's easy. If you have a good guide, it's easy. If you don't, well, there's rodents of unusual size. There's lightning sand.
all
What's the other
those.
thing?
I don't remember.
Oh, and the fire spurts.
There
Right.
you go.
There you go.
We're great
Transformation made easy.
guides.
Hi, I'm Corrine from Long Branch, New Jersey, and I met Ariel and Shya 17 years ago, and my life has not been the same since. And I just want to say that it's been the most amazing experience. I'm enjoying participating in their seminars, especially now that we're doing it on Zoom. It's amazing what happens, whether it's a weekend or a night. I just feel good. I feel centered. I'm able to deal with what life is throwing at me in a relaxed, enjoyable. I can't express myself except to say that I just feel good. And I really, really love it. And I hope other people will join us too, because it's really it's a gift worth sharing.
Do you want to have well-being with consistency? Connect with people all over the world from the comfort of your own home at Ariel and Shya's lively interactive Living Made Easy virtual seminars. Join any of their 2-hour online events or take a deep dive into the magic of being you at a virtual weekend seminar. Come on, let's connect. Find out more and register at transformationmadeeasy.com.
We invite you to attend a Living Made Easy seminar next up on Saturday and then Monday. Our weekend seminars have really been a joy. The next one is Leap into Life.
That's April 30th and May 1st.
And after that, New Beginnings, June 11th and 12th.
Yes.
June 11th and 12th. So you are invited to either or both.
If you're finding these conversations we have on being here useful and helpful and support you in living your life directly, the weekend seminars are much more potent in that we just get you into the moment and then the show is over. On the weekends, it's at the end of what would be this program, we take a short break and come back
and play some more.
And transformation goes deeper.
This is a shout out to Christina from Bonn. I'm the captain of my soul. Was a suggestion for her for this podcast we put out into the community. Do you have any suggestions for themes for the podcasts for this upcoming year? And so today is Christina's. So well done, Christina. Thank you. We're having fun with your suggestion.
Yes, dear.
Shall we call our next guest?
Yes, dear.
All right. Welcome to being here.
Hi, here's Renate from Biesterach in Switzerland.
Welcome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So nice to see you and to hear what you've spoken with Daniela and before.
Mm.
And I read the title of the show, like being the captain of your soul, and sometimes you don't know what's coming. And it really talked to me because I'm pregnant and like the baby can come soon. So we'll not in a couple of weeks. So we'll I don't know what's gonna be there.
Right. And this is I always kind of hate the idea of saying this is your first child because it implies that you will have multiple, but you have not had a child before. So I don't want to put a
It's
pressure on you to
truly
have
unknown.
many, but it really is unknown for you.
Yeah, that's true.
You really can't see what's on the horizon. You have an idea.
Well, here's the thing. I delivered my son in the back of a Volkswagen bus about 47 years ago. And what I can tell you is that if you try to get away from the sensations of childbirth, it'll be more painful. And if you choose to have what you have like it's your idea, and by the way, it was your idea.
Yeah, but when it gets painful, it's like, I didn't sign off.
That's right.
I remember our daughter called us one time when her firstborn was really young. And she's like, I didn't sign on for this. We said, what happened? She said, well, it got really quiet. And I went into the bedroom and Max was painting the wall with his poopy diaper.
Ooh.
And so not only was it a mess, she then had to clean up the mess. You know, she did sign up for that. That's in her preferences.
See, our lives are like a continuum. They don't start and stop, they continue. They continue on the path we set in motion in our past. And the question is how you meet your life as it shows up in the current moment, which you set in motion in your past moments.
Yeah, that's where, yeah, go ahead.
No, after you.
Okay, that's where I have a question, because like in the last weeks of my working life where I work now, because I've chosen to stop this work and we'll see what's coming up next. And sometimes I'm like really, I want to have the best days there, but sometimes they're not the best days there. And I get
Well,
stuck.
I'm a little confused with what you just said, that you want to have the best days there and they're not the best days there.
What does that mean?
Like that I really want to have everything ready like I want it to have, and everything like in place, and that it's kind of selfish that I can enjoy this time there that I still have, and there is stuff going on that's not to my preference.
Well, that's the problem, my dear. You see, the problem is anywhere you are, there's stuff going on. In anybody's life, there's always stuff going on. Now, the question is, if it's not to your preference, you will disagree with it. And anything you disagree with, first principle, anything you say no to, anything you say I don't want, that's what you get stuck with. So in effect, you are making your life miserable there when things show up differently than you want to justify your leaving. Because I think you really enjoy your work. But if it goes bad, well, then I'm leaving here anyway because I'm pregnant and I have a child coming.
I know you say you want to have everything in place and you want it to go the best ever. And I'm sure on one hand that's really true. But I think if you slow down a little bit, if it gets a little bumpy, then you don't have to miss it when you go. And you worked really hard to get extra degrees. You did a lot of schooling so that you could have your current position. And very quickly after that, you got pregnant and your life has taken a shift. So if you can have it be not so good right now, you don't have to have a concern that you did a lot of investment just to leave. It's like, I did a lot of investment and thank God I left.
Yes, that's a good point. Yeah.
The other thing is, if you think about it a year ago, before you were pregnant, or maybe a year and a half ago, before you're actively working to get pregnant. If you went in and had a day where everything wasn't put together, you didn't have the pressure to have it be different because it meant something. You were just in there interfacing with what was happening in your day to the best of your ability. So you're not being at work, you're being at work with a forward agenda. By this date, I want this in place. I mean, obviously you want to complete things before you go, but you're not actually completing things before you go. You're aiming for something which has you off-centered.
That's so accurate. Yes. Yeah.
And you're not actually choosing to have what's showing up show up. You're saying, no, I don't want this. Now this gets in the way of my getting out of here in the way I want to. And, you know, you could have fun with it or not.
Yes.
I'll tell you something else. It is also possible that you could create a drama at work so you don't have to register how frightened you are about the unknowns of the upcoming birth and bringing a child home, and the ever present for most people I've ever seen go through this, will I be a good mother? All of those other weird pre-programmed thoughts. If you can create a drama over here, you don't have to register that you have those concerns.
Also true. Yes.
You were going to say something.
Oh, I lost it. No, I listened. You know, second principle, no two things can occupy your mind at the same time. So if I held on to the thought I had, I would have to stop listening to Ariel. If I listen to Ariel and really listen, then the thought I have disappears. That's the same thing about your concerns for how the future is going to turn out. You can either get lost in those concerns, or you can bring yourself back to the current moment of your life and be where you are and interact with this moment.
Yeah, thank you.
And actually, you're practicing for the unwieldiness of motherhood, because you cannot control when your child is going to want to eat, when it's going to pee, when it's going to cry. You can, is
it's going to be a girl.
She is going to cry when she's going to need food.
Not going to be, is a.
She is a girl.
She is yeah, right. She already is one.
That's right.
So, you know, the more you can celebrate what is now, it's good practice for a few weeks from now.
Thanks.
You're very welcome.
Very
Thanks
welcome.
for calling in today. And we are sending our blessings and wishing you the very, very best on this journey.
Thanks.
Have fun with it. Remember that.
Yeah.
Remember when things don't go the way you want, to have fun with it. Like you're the master of your soul or the captain of your soul.
You know, I know there's a lot of, I have not personally had a child, and I went and was blessed enough to
Participate.
My friend Amy allowed me to come while she gave birth, and I could see that she did not anticipate the amount of sensation that would happen with it. You know, she made whatever choices she made at the time for pain relief. But one thing I do know about every woman who I've ever spoken to who's given birth, it is a seminal moment in their lives. So you may as well be there for it, because why not? And between now and then, if you're here for every moment of your life between now and then,
That'll be easy.
it'll be easy.
But if you run off in your thoughts to some, I wish this was over already thoughts. And I'm sure when you try to get out of bed in the morning now, you have that I wish it was over already thoughts.
It's a rollout at the moment.
Roll out of bed in the morning, yes.
Well, I hope to see you between now and when you
Give birth.
give birth. I think it's so easy to close in on yourself, and it'd be really lovely to see you between now and then.
Yes, I'm sure we're gonna see each other. I hope so, yes.
Good.
Thanks, Renate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, if you want to be a guest like Daniela or Renate, or you would like to submit a listener spotlight, like the little vignette in the middle of the show, people talking about their experience of transformation, you are welcome. Just go to transformationmadeeasy.com/being here and find out how. Next week's episode.
No worries, mate.
That's it. No worries, Mike. We'll be back next week. So come on back.
And don't miss being here.